This is Lola, first time learning lesson on how to make raisin cinnamon bread. This is the one who's going to show me how to impress my man.
How many loaves are we doing? 1 or 2?
2. We have to do 2, I guess, because we have to feed the little ones.
2 loaves. So we're doubling it. So we need 2 cups of warm water and yeast. I have the active dry yeast. I normally do instant, but this is what we have today, so that's what we're using. I've warmed up 2 cups of water. You don't want to use cold water because it will take way too long for it to become active. And you don't want it hot or you'll kill the yeast. Now 1 tablespoon of the yeast. So we're just gonna sprinkle that on in. Give it a little mix. My mixer. Now we're gonna let that become active. It'll be active in like 5 minutes. You'll know because it'll get nice and foamy and it'll smell kind of like dough. And now we wait. Here's a time lapse of the yeast becoming active. Okay, it is becoming active and here is the final look and you'll know it's ready. Okay, now that we are active, a little pro tip. So we have to put honey into our 1/4 cup. And if you take olive oil and just coat it, it slips right out and doesn't get all sticky. Coat the sides with it.
And you use all that honey.
Well, there's 2 loaves. You can sub the honey with sugar and it's a 1-to-1 substitute. Honey.
A lot. Whoa.
And I should have said before we did the mixing of the yeast, you can add the honey or sugar before it activates because it'll help the yeast because yeast loves sugar. But I forgot. That's okay, we'll add it now. No problemo. And now we need 2 tablespoons of melted butter and 2 teaspoons of salt. So I have my melted butter and our 2 teaspoons of salt. Want to mix? So once you have all of that mixed in, now I would typically use my KitchenAid mixer, hook it up with my knead hook once I put the flour in. But today we are skipping that because I'm teaching you and you don't have a KitchenAid mixer. We're keeping it real. I did do a test run last week and I did not hand knead it. It was just too sticky and I didn't really feel like doing it. How'd the bread come out? You ate it?
Good.
So
Very good.
we'll start with 4 cups of flour, mix it pretty well, and then we'll add the 5th cup. And always make sure that you scoop your flour in and you don't use your measurement as a scoop because you'll pack it down and you'll end up with way too much flour. So here's the first 2 cups. Here are the 4 cups. Here is our 5th cup. As we mix, here is what we're looking at. Keep on mixing. Put your elbow into it.
This is kind of like exercise, you know?
It's pretty much fully mixed, but there's little bouts of flour. And it's a little exhausting on the arm, so sometimes I go in with my hand. And just kind of do a little hand knead, nothing crazy. So I don't see any more pockets of flour anymore. You don't have to do much of this. Honestly, I think that's good. Yeah, that looks good to me. And we're gonna do as the least amount of work as possible so that you want to continue to make bread. You don't want it to be a chore. Now you throw a lid on it for an hour. I've done just like a towel over it, but I prefer to do a glass lid because I like to keep an eye on it because I'm nosy. I will see you in 1 hour. We are doing the cinnamon and raisin. And raisins are obviously pretty dehydrated and you don't want it to take the moisture out of your dough. So we're gonna pre-soak these. So you get really hot water, you can like simmer water and then turn the heat off or just use hot tap water, however you wanna do it. And soak them for about 10 minutes before we add them to the dough. So let's do that first.
Okay.
So we have our hot water and we're gonna dump some raisins in. So we're gonna measure with our eye. I normally do about 1 cup per loaf. So I'm gonna let the raisins sit in here for about 10 minutes. And we'll set that aside. For the cinnamon swirl filling, I have about a 1/4 cup. I measure with my eye, so however much butter you want to do, I do about a 1/4 cup. And then I just have some regular sugar.
No,
Again, I don't measure.
It's plastic.
I'm gonna do about a 1/4 cup though. And then I normally do a little bit of brown sugar. I don't have any, so we're gonna add molasses. But I would just add maybe like 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Adds that like warm flavor. And again, not gonna measure, but we're gonna add cinnamon. So you want like a thick consistency like that, but thin enough that you can spread it around. And now it has been an hour, so if you take a look at our dough, it is fluffy, it is full, and it is double. You're gonna wanna flour your surface. You're gonna dump that dough. Watch this. You can see all the webbing in there. A nice airy, yummy bread. Get the outside kind of coated in flour a little bit. And now we are going to split it in half. And set that one aside. And now we are gonna flatten out the dough.
Okay, wait a minute. Don't press it yet. Okay, good.
And now that we have a nice rectangle on the table, we're going to lay out our raisins and our cinnamon swirl filling.
I have to watch this.
My favorite part.
What? You gonna dance again?
Alright, so now that we have all of the filling and the raisins on it, we're just gonna do a nice tight roll. And if you pinch on the outsides, it'll keep it from falling out. And I have my parchment paper already for my loaves. You can just grease it, but I find that sometimes it sticks. You can never go wrong with the parchment paper. So here's some cinnamon sugar, and we're just gonna sprinkle it on the top of the loaf. We're gonna let this sit.
We're having cinnamon.
It's right here, baby.
Raisins.
And once it's puffed up, in about another hour, it'll be ready to bake. Okay, these are now ready to go in the oven. It's been about an hour, and they're nice and puffy, fluffy, and they're right at the top of the loaf pan. Put the oven at 350. We're gonna bake it for 40 minutes and check it. You want an internal temp of 190. If you think you can do it without temping your bread, I just temped it at 40 minutes, and you can see that it's all doughy, and it was at 140, so I did an additional 8 minutes, and then I'm gonna check it again. But this is your sign to temp your bread, because you never know. And here we have the final product. 2 loaves. Looking scrumptious. A picture of the best French toast ever. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next recipe.